Well, hello, Thirstaholics. Welcome to the Thirsty Professional, where today, yay, we are welcoming back Heidi Medina, who needs no introduction, but I'm going to give her one in just a minute. So go grab a cuppa. We're going to be back in just a jiff.
Welcome to the space where truth is poured. No corporate scripts, just tales explored. From passion quest to purpose found, the thirsty professional breaks new ground. So fill your cup, let's have a chat about careers, life, and all of that.
Hey, everybody, welcome to the Thirsty Professional. This is a place where we grab a bevy, we ditch the BS, and we get real about careers, purpose, and passion. I'm your host, Beth Campbell, former corporate queen, now full-time author and podcaster, author of the award-winning Where the Hell is My Bacon, and recently released Not Really Super Scary, but more Scooby-Doo than Stephen King, the RIP Files, Case of the Demon Drums. If you're watching live, let us know you're here in the comments, where you're from, and most importantly, what you're drinking. And today, if you're in the US and the east side of the country, let me know if you're in the Snowmageddon path and what you're expecting in your total inches for ice or snow. If you're watching the replay, please give us a hashtag replay. And of course, let us know if you have any questions or feedback so we can address them during this live stream or later in the comments. All right, today, my very, 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 very infinitely very special guest on The Thirsty Professional is Heidi Medina. Heidi is a 35-year entrepreneur, business relationship strategist. I call her a multi-potentialite, multi-creative, but her true title, I always have to give you your true title, Heidi. Heidi, badass of the House Medina, first of her name, the fucksayer, queen of collaborations, Khaleesi of the great relationship sea, giver of permissions, empress of entrepreneurs, and mother of the collective. If you don't know the awesomeness of Heidi Medina, what rock have you been living under? She's also a great friend. Please welcome Heidi Medina. Heidi, welcome to the Thirsty Professional.
Yeah, Beth, I really need you to introduce me on every show. I just do.
I just love that we have our little Game of Thrones. We were just talking about mentioned Game of Thrones before the call. We're talking about books. But Heidi, how are you? You know what? The first thing I have to ask you before we get to talking about everything, because we'll probably talk about everything, is what are you drinking today?
Oh, I was just showing everyone. I'm doubling it today.
Double fisting it today.
I've got chai latte, and I've got water. I had my water in a teacup, by the way.
A lot of people do. So you know what? No shame in that game, right? Plus, you said you're a little under the weather, so you got to have something a little nice and hot. So.
I've got that lovely little flu that's been going around that everybody's got. So, guys, I'm going to try not to do the sneezing and all that lovely stuff. But hey, I'm here. I've got the mood.
It's going around here too. My husband texted me yesterday and he said, yeah, I think what I've got is a little bit more than allergies. And I'm like, okay, that's it. No, just, fist bump. Love ya, but fist
No,
bump.
well, I couldn't get it at the same time as David and all of our friends. Everything at Christmas got screwed because
Oh.
David, Els, Bob, literally everybody were sick, and I mean they were all sick, and so we had to. All the plans just got shifted, shoved, everything else, but. I sailed through it thinking I was Miss Lucky.
Do you think it's better to get sick with your spouse or not? Because I can see pros and cons, but I don't know. Sean and I hardly ever get sick at the same time either. Usually he doesn't get much sick, and if I get something, I get really sick, or I will get nothing because I get my flu shots and my vaccines, and he sometimes doesn't. But I don't know if I would like to be sick at the same time.
I can't do all those shots because I'm actually allergic to them. So I have to rely on all you people to do them for me.
Right.
But So
What's it like when Heidi and David are really sick at the same time? Is that good or
that
bad?
honestly sucks, to be honest. It's been really great that because David just takes care of me like a queen while I'm sick, and I can
Oh,
do the same for him. But when we're both sick, I take care of both of us. So
oh, so there you go. Yeah.
I mean, come on. As much as I love my husband, and he's here, yep, he's in the comments. When guys get sick, they really get sick with the
You know,
boo.
I'm going to throw a little love to my husband for that because, first of all, I don't know what it is about Sean's immune system, but have been so many times where I am like dead. I am dead in the water. I am like, I'm not going anywhere. And he's like, yeah, it's just a little head cold. I'm just gonna, I'm gonna go to work or whatever, which maybe he shouldn't do that. But if you're just kind of feeling like, it's sort of allergies, but it infuriates me when he will take drugs like, and no big deal. It doesn't matter what I take, it makes me feel worse. So I just don't even take it. I'll just do teas and honey and stuff like that because
Yeah.
if I take what he takes to like make him sleep, I will sleep, but I won't sleep well. And the next day I'm like just
Mm.
spaced out. And so drives me nuts. So I don't, I don't
Well,
like it when we're,
I admit I'm totally drugged up to be here.
oh, I love it. I love it. Well, your fan club is joining, so I'm going to just jump into the comments real quick here. So
Oh, look at
good morning,
that.
Mike Noggin. Always good to have you here. Willie Nickel. Willie, I was thinking about you the other day because I was telling my husband, who is a Campbell, we need to make our trip to Scotland. And I said, I know people in Scotland like Willie Nickel. And Willie is drinking fizzy water with black currant juice.
Ooh, Willie, I want
Ooh,
some.
that sounds
That sounds
good.
right, right. Oh,
Yeah.
Stella's got the latte now. Yeah, Stella, mine's a chai latte. Do you like the chai lattes too, or just the coffee ones?
I think you and I have talked about this before offline, but I don't think I've ever had a chai. I couldn't even tell you what it tastes like. What is it even? Is
Ooh.
it
So I'll send you my
spicy?
recipe.
Okay.
But yeah, it is. Well, mine is. They make some that aren't so much, but it's usually a combination of like ginger. Mine's got ginger, black pepper, white pepper, allspice, nutmeg, cinnamon,
Oh, wow. Okay.
cardamom. Yeah, some chili pepper. There's a couple other things in it too. But it's so good because it's like this spicy good. And of
Mm.
course, with the latte, got a little milk in it,
It's
and
like
a
mulled
good black tea.
latte.
A
Yeah, it's
good black tea in it. Yeah, yeah, and some honey. I sweeten it with honey.
I love it. Eileen's got her coffee in New Jersey. Thanks for joining us, Eileen. David, who, by the way, your husband David is going to be a guest on The Thirsty Professional in a few weeks. I can't remember the date, David. I want to say it's the end of February, but tune in for that. So Stella takes no shots and is always fine, no flus, colds, or anything. I bow to you, Stella, because before I started getting the flu shot, every year I would be out like 2, 3 times and I mean, like when I get it, I am out. I am
Mm,
just don't bother
yeah,
me for about 5 days. David has jasmine tea. That sounds lovely.
he likes
All
his
right,
jasmine.
Heidi. I'm not going to
Yes.
be. I'm gonna go light on you. Well, because we could talk about anything.
Don't go light. Let's do it. Let's do it.
Well, I want to start out with, as I always do, for anybody who might be joining who doesn't know you. Let's talk about what do you do right now, and what is the passion in what you do, and then we'll go from there wherever the road takes us. I literally have like 2 bullet points for you because I'm like, you know what, Heidi will talk about anything, but let's talk about you first. What you do.
Yeah, so I'm a business relationship strategist. And and what I love about it is that I get to help people connect and just communicate and have conversations with each other that builds relationships that could do all kinds of cool things. And I just find that it just feeds my soul to connect people. It's just
Well,
what it does.
you've been really doing this. I was thinking back as I was preparing for the show. I was just thinking back about, you and I have known each other since a little bit pre-COVID, so like 2019-ish or so. So what is it? It's almost 7 years now.
Yeah.
And everything that you've done, now you've pivoted a little bit on where your focus is, and some new things, and but the thread has always been for you relationships
Relation.
and connections. It has, and talking with people and having conversations versus that's been your mantra since day one, no matter what you've done.
I know, right? I keep coming back to
Well, it
that.
is. It's really interesting. So Stella had given me this great word recently, this multi-potentialite. Also say multi-creative, and when I think about myself and all the different things I do, I'm like, yeah, it does feel like it's disjointed, but it's really not because the thread that runs through
Mm,
everything I do is the same. It's speaking out, it's leaning in, it's sweary, snarky,
yeah.
sarcastic, authentic, and you have the same thing. You are the thread that is weaved through your career, at least since I've known you. You
And
know,
it is.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, it's the same. And I think that's what, I knew you were back struggling a little bit on the niching thing. And I think we all do so many different things. I mean, I've got so many different hobbies and talents and things that I like to do and just stuff I've done over the years and learned and everything. But at the end of the day, there's always that thread that's
yeah,
where I feel like we come back to. And that's truly how we can become known for something, even though we have all these multiple interests.
right.
At the same time, people recognize you. Oh, you're the person, like for me, you're the person that's always talking about having conversations, right? It's like, yeah, of
Right.
course.
I mean, to me, that's true branding. When we think about branding, a lot of us, and we've had a lot of branding experts on the show, who will
Hmm.
say the same thing, right? Sometimes on the surface, we're thinking of branding as, well, it's my job and what I'm trying to do and my colors and my tagline. But really,
Hmm.
your true brand is that thread. Why do you think that Heidi Medina, Heidi of the House Medina, the fuck's there, the fuck's there? Why do you think relationships in business are so important to you?
It's funny because I didn't know the answer to this question up until a few months ago, and I can't remember if I was talking to Matt Stone or Paul Banks on this one. Was when I first answered it. Finally, was really digging down and realizing um, that my autism is the reason it turns out that's truly what it's linked back to. Because growing up as a kid and stuff, like I didn't, if people don't communicate well enough or I don't understand how the relationship or the signals or something are going quite right, that it it doesn't I can't connect because I don't always understand. I don't understand why people do some of the things they do, what they do, that kind of stuff. But it really became important to me throughout life, and then watching through the produce stand and growing up on the family farm and watching through the produce stand of how people bought things, how the relationships around all that worked. And it was just like I was in this giant petri dish. Here it is, I'm an autistic kid. I don't fully understand relationships signals all the way. And so it just made me learn to dive deep and start recognizing what it was that allowed people to connect and what connect well and what didn't work and that kind of stuff. And I just continued that thread all the way through my businesses. I saw my parents do it, and then I started doing it, and then it just kept going. But at the end of the day, for me, it becomes back down to a need of just wanting to be able to help people communicate better, because we could legitimately solve all the world's problems if people would just stop and listen and actually hear and communicate with each other. And I just feel so passionate about that. And it's it's what happens in our businesses. Most people don't want to communicate as well. And I'm rambling, aren't I? I
No,
don't know.
but
You got
you're bringing up
soapbox.
some. These are really good points because one of the things that when you talked about your autism, and I know if you're okay, I want to talk a little bit about that. But this is another thing that I think people do, myself included. We all do it. We want people to communicate in the same way that we do, and that's just not the truth for everybody there. And I learned this in corporate, right? That there are, because I worked with the introverts and I worked with the egos and I worked with the badasses, and you really have to stop and go, hey, this person isn't communicating the same way that I would. Let me just think about that. And you, as somebody who is neurodivergent, so how old were you when you got a word for it? When you validated, what it was? Because I think you've talked about you probably felt things your whole life, but when did you really like say, okay, no, this is me. This is absolutely me.
It wasn't till my late 30s when I got a diagnosis. So I've gone through life always feeling a little bit like an outsider because I would have relationships fall apart and I didn't know why. People would just disappear and I didn't know why. For me, things were okay. And then all of a sudden it just got crazy and just be, people would either be gone or they would get upset. And part of it is not, I've got a massive awareness of what's going on around me, but at the same time, it's not always, and the empathy and everything, and but people don't like to communicate, and that's just it. And I am a communicator, and that's the only way I understand things. As sometimes, it would just be me pushing for answers a little too hard. And so there was a lot of that growing up where I was just trying to get answers because I know David gets mad at me sometimes because I'll be like, I want to be asking more questions of why because I don't understand. And until I understand, my brain is latched onto, I don't get it. It's not that I'm trying to be a bitch. It's not that I'm trying to be a pain in the ass. It's because I truly haven't gotten it yet. So I'll keep asking questions until I can figure it out, which frustrates some people.
Why do you think people don't wanna communicate? I mean, because I completely agree with you, but it's also a mystery to me sometimes where
I think that it makes them feel vulnerable. It's going
uh,
deeper than they're really wanting to. From what I've learned and watched, is I do. I spend a lot of time watching people, learning about myself. I've done a ton of reading and stuff in this and all that. And it's, I, people don't want to let people in too much because they
yeah.
might get hurt. It might get used against them. There's just, and then sometimes people just don't know the answer yet, or they don't want to know the answer. And I think that's part of it too.
Ah,
And yeah.
yes. I don't want to know. Well, then you are one of those great people that and this is why I love you because one of the many reasons I love you, but you tell people what they need to hear, not necessarily what they want to hear. And people, I think in general, we are more
Yeah.
comfortable hearing what we think we want to hear. It's hard. I mean, as a corporate person getting feedback, as an author getting feedback, as a podcaster getting feedback, it's hard. But we need to hear it and you give it. And I love that.
We do, and I've gotten better at giving it because, like back in the day, I was pretty darn blunt without softening it, and I learned over the years. In my 30s, I started applying a little bit of a filter, and I would ask before, like I was in my 20s, my teens and 20s, and I would just tell somebody because, hey, don't we want the truth in the world? And don't we want to know what our friends or family, whatever's thinking? But I would give it unasked for. And so after, and I got in my 30s, I got a little smarter. Started to only give it with permission, and even then over time, if somebody asked me, they're like, oh yeah, I really want to know what you think, and I'll be like, are you sure you really want to know what I think? Because I'm going to tell you. And it still sometimes hurts people's feelings even though they say yes. And it's but it is, if you really want to know, it's not always easy to face certain sides of ourselves. I mean, for me, it's not always easy, but I'm one of those types of people. I look at myself and I'm working really hard to try to improve. And maybe that's not quite the right word, but that's what I'm going with right now. To continually get better, about what I do, how I present in the world, how I can help others, that kind of thing. And a lot of that comes through self awareness of myself, and so I'm always trying to work on all that. And I think a lot of people aren't willing to. Not because maybe they just don't want to admit it, or they don't want to know,
Yeah.
or I mean, we build these facades about ourselves, and either you want to know yourself truly or you want to keep the facade. And a lot of people like the facade because it's safe.
Yeah, yeah. Another interesting dichotomy that you're making me think of too is when we do ask for and we are at least we appear to be receptive to, we are receptive to feedback, but then it challenges what we our gut feel says is right. And I think this is important. This happens to me a lot. I do things like I'll put my author or like my book covers out and say, which one do you like? And there's always one that I like better. And I'll have all these people say, yes, it's this one. And I'm like, why do you like that one? And then one or two people like this one. And ultimately I just go with whichever one I like. but that's also a hard thing too, because like, am I just doing that because it's safe, or am I, so I don't know if you are challenged ever with, I'm getting all this great feedback, but it's going against my true gut feeling and my experience, and I'm just going to go with what I think is right.
Yes, but I've got a
Yes.
little different perspective on that with putting it out, because you've jumped into a little bit of the marketing side of things with that. So yes, we have what we like for sure, and in some ways, if that's what fits our brand, then fine. But at the same time, we are producing a product, and your book is for other people, not just yourself.
Truth.
So as much as it hurts, sometimes it's like sometimes the names of, I mean, you and I've been friends long enough. You know, naming is not one of my strong points. I got talents in a lot of areas, guys. Naming is not one of them.
It is mine. I love to
It
name
is not
things.
one of them. I'm pretty much a say what it is in the can type of person. If it's mac and cheese, it's mac and cheese, and let's leave it at that.
Right.
But but I'll put out some names, and I'll be like, oh, do you guys want this, or which one do you like? And I do have my favorite in the list, and the one I think everybody's going to go with. But at the end of the day, what I've learned is go with the one the majority picks, because that's the one that's going to sell. At the
If
end
it
of the
makes sense. I will say, in my defense, I did like the one that most people picked for my latest book, but it didn't work for the tone of the book, and it didn't work for the repetitiveness. So I picked what you chose. Yes.
I like this one, by the way,
Yeah.
guys.
Heidi's choice. I had, it's sometimes you have to also weigh things that people don't understand, which is, people chose one that had a stairway, and it was really cool, but it was just, I think, too scary, and it didn't make
I
sense.
don't think
This
it
one, I think,
matched it.
didn't match
Yeah.
it. Yeah,
I,
more
I didn't think it
scary.
matched it either. This was my favorite cover as well.
Yes,
Yeah, I
yes.
just had to show. Great book, guys. I have the
Thank
Kindle one,
you.
and I have my signed copy.
Yay. Yes, and if anybody wants a signed copy of either of my books, of my two books, well, actually I have three, but you can get that one for free. Just go to my website, and thank you. I know some people out here have already ordered. So okay, Heidi, I want to like just jump into like whatever. When I started this show, I had a list of questions, and I've hardly ever asked them because they usually get into
Ooh,
conversation, and I know we could as well. But I really had this thought about wanting to bring out the journey and the wisdom and the expertise versus the pitch, and so I might just dive into some of those. But
let's do it.
I think everybody is really fascinated by the fact that you have literally, literally been an entrepreneur almost since birth. I mean, you've not really worked many
I haven't.
traditional types of jobs. You were, when you were a kid, you were in your family's fruit stand, or
Yeah, the
whatever
farm.
you called it. Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think, especially now that you've kind of settled into this world that you're in, with relationship strategy and marketing, and being that on that level of expert, what do you think is the hardest part of being an entrepreneur?
Showing up every day, even when you're not seeing results.
Mm,
You got to believe in yourself and your mission, and that's the difference between somebody who will be a business owner and somebody who won't. I know a lot of people say everybody can be one, and I disagree. I mean, it takes a lot of grit and gumption to stay in even when, because there are times when things aren't going the way you think they should be, and all of a sudden, it will change, and it doesn't matter. Any business you get in, there's going to be hard points, and you've just got to be able to stay in the game, and believe in yourself and believe in the idea and know it's going to happen, even when you're not seeing it, knowing that things are stacking up and going the right way.
this is like a universe moment for me, because not long before you and I got on the call before we went live, I'm a member of a lot of author writer groups out on Facebook, and somebody posted, it's very negative. Like, I know that there's no advice anybody's going to give me here that's going to make me, a good author. And then it was just a whole dump of all the crap that they've gone through. And I've had my book out there for 10 years and it's not sold a single copy, and I can't do anything out on TikTok. And I made I almost wasn't gonna, but made a comment and I said, respectfully, with love, this is about belief in yourself. And if this is
Yeah.
not your calling, because as an author, my calling is I will write. If I win the lottery tomorrow, I might write less, but I'm still going to write because it's a calling.
Yeah.
And I think you're right. Stella's agreeing. Totally running a business is
Yeah,
not
it's not
for
for
everyone.
everyone. It's a different level of stress and stuff that most people don't have, and that's just the truth. I mean, but I know people that have been forced into that have been really good business owners, but the minute they could, they went back into the employee world. I've seen that a lot with some of my LinkedIn connections this past year. Um,
It's
but
tempting.
yeah, yeah. Hey, I'm the 5 times in. I grew up in one. My grandparents owned businesses, and there are still days where if the right person came along and gave me the right conditions, I might say yes. I mean, and
I probably would too.
I love owning a
Part time.
business. Don't
Part
get me wrong. I do. I absolutely adore it, and I will help people do it all day long. But I sometimes, you just don't necessarily always want the stress, and that's just how it is. I mean, but at the end of the day, I love it. Oh, we
Same
got
here.
Seamus here
Yeah,
too.
I'm going to jump over to the comments here because we've got some people jumping in. Willie says, I'd be welcome in Scotland. Thank you, Willie. And he could show me Campbell country. Well, I'm going to probably take you up on that one day. Stella says, oh yeah, Heidi Medina, it's a skill to say it like it is in a way that makes it possible for the recipient to receive it. That's what you were talking about.
Yes, lots
You
of
have to kind
empathy.
of, yeah, it
Lots of
is kind of a skill. I think that, I've not always done that well, but I've had to learn
we do.
recognize when, I think that's where this empathy is so important because if you can't recognize when someone is responding in a way
Yeah.
that they're clearly not getting your message in the way you intended it, then that's something maybe to work on because you're gonna probably continue to have that issue. Seamus is joining us. My two besties on here. Seamus, also coming back to the Thirsty Professional. So excited! I'm so excited to have you got you encore people coming back on. As we said, Stella is acknowledging running a business, and yeah, David, it's not easy to start the course. I tell you. So what's the best thing then? Could you not give up? If you had to, if someone had said today, you're going to have to go back to a traditional job, what would be the worst thing that you could imagine out of that?
Going back to a traditional job.
I mean, do you want the whole list or just the top 10? Because the stress, the lack of flexibility, the lack of creativity.
Yeah,
Maybe
all
that's
of that. Yeah, it just working. I've never been in a work environment in a traditional job that worked with me. And that's the problem is traditional jobs they have this idea that everybody should fit in this one box, work this one way and everything. And they're not maximizing on people's talents or their skills or their abilities at all. Because I'm the type of person the last job I worked was a corporate management job. It's actually what moved me from North Carolina to Colorado. I was brought in to actually bring this company up, this big landscape company up into the community, connect with the community, get them in. They had gotten some bad press for a couple of years before from a couple of jobs that didn't go as well planned, big profile jobs. And they brought me in to shake things up, get them back, the community back in love with them, and all that kind of stuff. And one of the agreements was, if I'm moving all the way out here, is that I pretty much got carte blanche, and I wasn't going to be put in traditional working conditions because that didn't work for me. It just
Yeah.
does. I can't punch a clock for 12 hours a day and do I just don't. I get my work done 3 to 4 hours. I'm finished. Leave me alone. I'll go find something else to do. And usually it's within the company. I'm not talking about just my own thing, but just leave me alone.
Yeah.
It's not that I'm not a team player. I enjoy having the team. I enjoy guiding things, but I do need the freedom and the flow and things to like With this job, I would spend 2 or 3 hours in the office itself. And then I had a company vehicle, I had all that. And then I'd go out on the job. Well, in 3 months, I had raised their profit margin. I think we were in 3 months within 23% already. We had cut losses by 13%. We had pulled in 3 to 4 big contracts. Plus, in that time frame, we had done several conferences and things in the community, and we actually had the community coming in finally. And 3 months in, they came to me and sat down, and they were stopping all of it.
I wish I could say I'm surprised to hear this type of a story, but I hear this all the time from my corporate friends where I came in, I'm kicking ass, we're saving money
Yeah.
left and right, and then I'm sorry, we have to put you on a PIP, a performance improvement plan, and or you've been eliminated, right? Or your position's been eliminated,
Well,
or
they
the
did. They
possibility.
eliminate me at that point, but then they were like, "You need to be in the office for 8 hours, and you still need to be available for 12, and we need you to stop going into the field." And I'm sorry, I do a lot of work from the truck,
Yeah.
because I would get out, take the truck out, go out on the field, go out on the jobs, and you'd just be sitting there, or I'd get out and start digging into the plants with the guys. But you would get these ideas would start flowing, and that was what. And I'd get out, be able to talk to the community people because we were working Breckenridge, Aspen. We were these big communities, Marriott, Hilton, you name it. We were doing it, and so you get out and start talking to people, and all of a sudden you got these. For me, I got these ideas flowing, and I can't do that sitting back in an office with four walls. It just doesn't.
So
It's not
many.
that I won't put the hours in. I'll put the hours in, but I
Yeah.
need to put the hours in
Well,
where, yeah.
that's very authoritarian thinking, and I could write a book on it. Oh wait, I wrote two, and also had a
Oh, that
podcast.
one's on my shelf too. Because I only see the bottom of that one.
It just never ceased to amaze me. And because so when I was in corporate, I was managing a team well before COVID, and every but person on my team had some sort of work from home. This is way before it was the norm for anybody, and the team, it worked for them because you know what, I get it. There are in some industries, you have working hours and customers and stuff, but through those years, I worked with people in many, many different time zones, like 5 hour difference time zones.
Mhm.
And so a lot of the stuff really wasn't dependent on you must be butt in seat 8 a.m. until 5 p.m., blah, 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 blah. And a lot of
Yeah.
these men and women were also on call and working, and we would call them from airports and stuff. But God, the minute that they would ask for, can I work 2 days from home? It was like, no, because then you're just going to be watching the clock and we can't see you. And I'm like, well, did you see the people that were sleeping in their chair in the office or playing solitaire
Right?
for 4 hours? I mean, or taking, 2 hour breaks twice a day outside of lunch. So, yeah, I don't understand that the mentality of people, if you can just do whatever you is in your power to give people what makes them work better, they will work better and they will be grateful enough. They'll work even better for you. But anyway.
Yeah, Willie says he's been there and got the t-shirt. Willie, you know it, man. Yeah, but yeah, you're right. And that's why whenever I went into, building this business and stuff, that was one of the things for me was to be able to empower people to be able to set up and run a business that worked for them. I mean, dump the traditional rules wherever we they're all just guidelines. Rules are guidelines. They can teach you if you don't know anything at all about knowing how to do it. Okay, fine. Learn the rules first. And then
Right.
once you know them, break them into turn them into what works for you because they're literally just guidelines. And there's no reason you cannot run a business exactly the way you want to run it. Other than guys, you do gotta sell something. I'm sorry, I cannot take that pain away from any of all of you. You're gonna have
Well,
to
of
sell
course, but
your
you know what?
thing.
You and I have talked about this before about this concept of when you have a good solid structure, it is much easier to stray from that structure, right? And
Yeah.
for many of us, right? So, and we talked about that in the terms of our mindset, right? If I and me as a if I have a schedule and a structure in place of how I run my day and things that I do, when I have to go out of that, it's so much easier. And I think that's what we're, we can talk about here, that yes, there has to be a structure. Of course, you're running a business. You can't just say, screw you, I'm going to do whatever I want. And I've seen that too. But most of the time, it's just, look, I'm giving you my extra mile, but hey, it's COVID and I've got a kid. Could I possibly go part time, or could I work? Could I come into the office a couple of hours later? And it just astounded me how much that made people prickle. And we're seeing that now, where after COVID, everyone was like, no, you have to be back in seats because we have tax concerns, or promises we made to
Yeah.
the city, or whatever, or because I just am a authoritarian manager and I want to see you. So
That's that's what it's about. It's about control. I call it modern day slavery, because it's this idea that if my eyes are not on you, you're not being as productive as you could be. Yet it's been proven time and time again throughout the COVID times. I mean, what bigger petri dish research
right,
test did we get than that one, when everybody had to work from home?
everybody
Um,
stepped up, worked from home, rocked
it
it, and
showed it actually showed it was going to become a problem of actually probably being more burnout, because people were at home and they weren't getting away from the computers and stuff as much. I mean, me as a business owner, I have to set up limits on getting away from the computer, because otherwise it's easy just to sit there and stay on. And so they were having, there's actually, that was becoming more of a problem, but there's nobody, it's a control issue. I, Stella mentioned that too, and I
yep.
agree completely. It's a control issue.
Yeah, 100%. I think for me, if I were ever to go back, and I would never go back full time, I would probably consider part time for the right position. But the biggest thing that I would miss would be that flexibility and the control of my time.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just
Same.
do without it. So what? Tell me a little bit about in your entrepreneurial career or otherwise. What do you think has been the biggest failure that you experienced, or the lesson that you learned that was maybe a little hard to learn? Because we all know discomfort is the gateway to growth, and failure is good, and but it sucks at the time. So was there anything where you just were like devastated or like shit, but then you're like, okay, well, now I gotta, and you just,
I mean,
of
there's,
course, you did whatever it was. Everybody does, and whatever it was, here you are. But
yeah, well, I mean, if that's one thing about failing, it's just learning. We can't learn if we don't make mistakes. Um, Honestly, one of the biggest ones I can remember most recently was I let myself get out of control during a live meeting with someone, and yeah, I was having a bad day, and it came out, and that's probably been one of my bigger fails. Um, yeah, and I was not a good person that day. Um,
we've all
but
been
probably
there.
one of my,
Heidi, some
yeah.
of the stuff I used to say on corporate calls would have gotten me fired if I said it today. And I mean, like, just like
I
frustration.
apologized profusely to the ladies that were. I mean, I was a total bitch. I was, and I didn't mean. I just it was an autism breakdown, and it was. It's funny. You get in these, and you know it. It's a train wreck. You know it, and you have no control on stopping it. And I think that's the hardest thing. But usually, I'm pretty good at seeing the triggers ahead and being able to pull myself out of the situation. And this particular time, I didn't. And that's the most recent one I could think of. Other than one time, I did this really big launch. This was a few years ago. I did a really, really big launch, and I didn't ask my audience. I didn't ask my people ahead of time if they wanted it. I knew they needed it. I knew it is the thing everybody said they wanted. I knew it would help everybody. It was a LinkedIn program. Oh gosh, this has been, I guess it's probably right before COVID. Yeah, it was right before COVID when I brought that out. And I put it out, and I put a lot of time. I had 6 to 8 weeks into marketing it. I had pre-recorded it. Guys, I don't pre-record anything anymore. It's all done ahead of time. And I am I still am
Yeah,
I
you're
still
still
here?
yeah, you're still here.
Okay. All right. My screens are going a little nuts all of a sudden. But I've got no screen, so you let me guys know if you can see me or not. But anyway, so I put all this effort into pre-recording this thing and putting it out there and marketing it, and didn't sell a one.
Mm.
And I learned from that don't do anything without asking first. Ask them what they want, ask them what they need, ask them what they think they want, and then continue them through all the way through the process. And don't pre-record, pre-sell first.
That's a toughie. I mean, I did my first Facebook Live a couple years ago, and it was just a lot of mindset stuff, and I thought it was really good material, but there were definitely quite a few episodes. It was a month long. It was a month challenge, and there were a few. It really is. It hits you deep when you're like, I know when I talk about this in a video, people like it, and it's have a lot of feedback, and then you do a live, and it's like crickets, like
Yeah.
zero people showing up for some episodes, and it's like, oh God, you really got to have a strong sense of.
You do. I mean, I did. You did that one, and I had done one. I guess it was a few months before you. I did a 30-day challenge
Yeah, you
because I
probably
had
were the one.
never done one. I had
Yeah.
never. It was funny. It was I. Everybody does these 30-day challenges, and I had always said, "Oh, I'm going to do." I would agree to do one here and there and everything, but I never followed through. I didn't. I was never committed to one of them. It didn't matter whether it was go live, post for every day for 30 days, whatever. I just didn't do it.
Yeah.
And so finally, I think it was the year before last, I committed to going live every day for at least a 5-minute little segment. And I did it. I did it. I missed one day just because I could not get online, technical issues, things like that. And that was when I was up in Porto. And even when I was in Porto, I would do them live from the beach. I did them live everywhere. But yeah, I mean, you do. When you go live, you have to know that sometimes people won't show up, that you're doing it.
Yeah.
They'll be there later, but they won't necessarily be there when you're live.
That's why I say you kind of have to. I think if you go into anything and it's not a calling, you will be disappointed. But if you go into it and it is a calling and is something you really believe in, it'll be disappointing, but you'll recover much faster. And I feel like that's for me. When nobody showed up, it sucked and it was weird. But you get over it really quickly. And as you know, with lives, you just eventually you just like I'm whatever I'm doing to do, or you have technical issues and nobody can get in. That's happened to me too.
I've had that happen.
But if it's your calling, it's okay. But if when I've dabbled in things like after I got laid off from my corporate job, and I was like, oh, maybe I should be a career coach, because I always am giving out career advice and stuff. And I did have a small handful of clients that I kind of did a free, I will help you with this for a testimonial, but not having the people coming in droves as I had hoped to
Yeah.
generate some income, and maybe I can really help some people. But then that's when I realized because it wasn't really my calling. It really didn't make my heart sing. So um,
So important.
speaking of lives, just real quick, because you have a live podcast that you I think are going to be maybe this year bringing back to life, but you do a lot of lives in any case. I mean, what do you? I mean, do you prefer lives to pre-recorded when you're doing things
I
like a
do.
podcast? Yeah,
I do. For me, it's okay. I am a recovering perfectionism. I will put my perfectionist.
great
I will
job.
put my hand
Your
up on
badge.
that one. Yeah, I've got my badge. I'm recovering. So I find it harder to do, and I've gotten a lot better, but I do find it harder to do a pre-record than I do a live. Or, if it's one thing, if I'm getting on a podcast as a guest with someone else and someone else is in control, I can show up. I don't
Right.
care that it's pre-recorded. But if I've got to sit there and do the pre-recorded stuff,
I can't.
the perfectionist shows up and it's,
Oh my
I could
God.
do that better. Let's redo it. Let's redo it.
Heidi,
Or
how
let's
many
start
blooper
over.
reels? How many blooper reels did you and I put out like during COVID? Because we were all doing pre-recorded stuff. And I'm the same way. I would just be like, so for the umpteenth time, hi, I'm Beth Ann Campbell. Oh, you know,
Oh
it would
yeah,
drive me, and
we
it
have
still drives me
so
nuts.
many.
I do video series on YouTube called Author Interrupted, where I just share my life as an author, the same as here, like, no BS. This is how I fucked up this week in my writing or whatever. And it still does It still drives me nuts when I'm like, but I've gotten better now in the pre-recordings too. I kind of know, okay, just stop, pause, and then just resume because you can clip it out. That's what you do.
Yes.
But I
That's what I'm
thought,
doing now. I do because David does all my clipping and everything. So now I do. I'll leave a long pause so he
yeah,
knows this area is messed up and just start again. And that helps a lot. But when you go live, you've got no choice.
yeah,
You show up. Whatever mistakes you make, they're made. They're done. You've got to. But I find it's actually probably helped me a lot on camera, going live with more personality and being okay that it's not perfect. And because you got to deal, once you go live, you got no control. I mean, you do what
yeah.
you can with the environment you're in, but what's outside, you got no control. You can about guarantee the baby's going to cry, the dog's going to bark.
The
I always
siren.
give a siren, which we have not had yet today, by the way. Um, but
Hmm.
there's all this stuff that goes crazy, and you've got no choice, and or you say something wrong, and you just got to go, "Oops, okay, sorry. Here's what I meant." Keep
Yeah.
going. But yeah, but I do. I There's something about the live for me that is more, maybe because it's more real, that
I
I
like
enjoy
it.
it more.
I like it because I it makes me not be able to be a perfectionist, and because I with recorded, especially when it was podcast pre-recording, it would take me forever to get through, and then I would have to edit like up the wazoo, which on audio it sounds fine, but on
Yeah.
video sometimes it's but it really has helped me with recorded, but I love it because I it just I feel freer when I'm doing
Yes.
I swallowed my spit. See, sometimes that happens. Whereas when Heidi and I first got on the call and she was like, "I can't hear you." So, and then her camera switched and I'm like, this happens all the time and you have to deal with it. But I thought when I first started doing lives, probably when that with that Facebook challenge that I did, I thought I was so scared shitless and I just, you got to punch through it anyway. But after I did it a few times, you realize that so if anybody out there is doing a podcast and it's recorded and you've been avoiding lives, and that's okay, you do you, but if you're
Yeah, you
doing
don't have
it
to.
but if you're a perfectionist like us and it can probably help you with that because I think it does come off as is more authentic and it spares us the agony of although I do miss the blooper reels. I do.
Oh, the blooper reels are a blast. Then again, though, we could probably pull them from our lives if we think
Yeah,
about it.
true. True. Well, Heidi, I have actually just one more question that I put out a post and I wanted to ask this question of you because I just think it's a fascinating thing to get into people's brains. If you could not do what you're doing now or anything similar, right? You can't, do a slight pivot. Nope, can't do that. So you can't be a relationship marketing strategist. You can't be all the things that you've been, LinkedIn guru. I mean, you can still be them, but you can't, that can't be your career. You can't have a fruit market and you can't do landscaping. What is it in your multi creative world? What do you think that you do if you suddenly just couldn't do all the things that you've done in the past?
Ooh, that is
Can you
a good
name it?
one. Um, what would I do?
So I put just so while you're thinking, I put out on my
Yes.
on a post, I put a lot of things that I think I would do. I would be a singer. I would because I love karaoke and I can kind of carry a tune. I think with some help I could be okay. Probably not Stella good, but but decent. I watch these videos of people who they take old paintings and then they clean them. And so you watch the video of the cleaning, or they restore posters. They wash them and they, get the
Yeah.
stains out. I could see myself doing something like that. Would be fun.
Okay.
Is there
Yeah.
anything that you've always done, or maybe I don't know.
This is going to be, and this one keeps coming up for me, even though I've done it and I said I would never do it again. So I used to have this whole romantic idea that I wanted to own a B and B, and
Oh yeah,
I wanted to have a really awesome B&B, and I'm a chef, I'm a food blogger, chef, and all that kind of stuff.
yeah,
So I've been doing food blogs since 2012, 2013, something like that. Um, but with the whole idea with the B&B was that we would host like middle of the afternoon. It funny. Here's connection. I'm just connecting this right this minute. This whole idea we would have a middle of the afternoon little wine tasting and bites and stuff that we made, and we would host some of the food and things like that. And in 2016, David and I, we took a couple of years off and did full time digital nomad. And some of the things we did, because I had this idea, I wanted to do the B&B. So we did Workaway. If anybody knows what Workaway is, you exchange your time and labor in exchange for room and board for all these cool experiences to do these things. And we spent an entire 7 or 8 months, maybe a little bit longer, working at different types of B&B, small hotels, things. And it was a blast, but at the same time, it kind of made me realize you're fully 100% married to these things. Like these people never got on holidays and stuff. So I said I would never do it, but I'll be honest, in the back of my head, I'm still kind of clinging to the idea. I think it'd be cool to own a really large one where you could host retreats and stuff. I think it would be fun.
Girl, I that's been on my thing. So there's a performance center near Roanoke, Virginia, where my husband and I used to work. It's a couple hours from us. We go there pretty frequently, and they have near very close to it, like literally, like you walk up the hill and there's this B&B, and it was for sale. And one of my husband's former coworkers, we're friends with him and his wife, and she and I have talked about, wouldn't it be really cool? I think if I had a partner, because that would be what I would worry about too. When you're in the hospitality industry, you really, I mean, what happens if you do get sick and you need to take a day or two or three?
Right.
What are you going to do? You got people coming in. You got to have a support system. So if it was like, the two couples, so I don't know, keep me in mind
Swap it out.
in a few years when you decide you want to do it. You know, well,
Well, it was funny because I was just looking. I get this. Sorry, guys, my voice a little. I get this email about these lower cost homes in Italy and stuff like
yeah,
that. And there was this one came up the other day. It was in the Tuscan region. It's beautiful. Sorry, beautiful 10-bedroom home that was like it was about I think 100 you probably need to stick another 100 or 150 in it to bring it
yeah.
all back to life, but it was absolutely gorgeous and in a great location. And I looked at David, I said, you want to get a house for to host retreats?
Well,
Because it was like
some places, and I was watching a video on social media just the other day where some guy bought a house. I want to say it was in Italy for €1. But now he's
yeah, they
probably
do
got
that.
a couple $100,000 but he's
Yeah.
got this. Yeah. So I don't know, Heidi, just call me when you decide that you're going to do that. I didn't even know. I'm familiar with the house sitters. David's like, okay.
I've done that too.
I'm familiar with trusted house sitters, which you have done, or a version of that where
Yeah.
you go and you house sit. I was not familiar with Workaway. Could you think that there
Yeah,
could be a baby goat farm out there somewhere that needs just some
there
help?
is baby goat farms.
Just saying.
There is. Yeah, there's all kinds of farms.
Or a
There's
little Scottish
actually
Highland
there's
cow.
actually one called it's the nickname of it's Woofing's but it's all farms, and that one is that, but Workaway has them too. But
Hmm,
Woofing is where you'd want to go for the baby goat farms. But yeah,
okay.
they do have them.
I'm gonna,
Miniature donkeys too, by the way.
oh, if they had Scottish Highland cows too, I mean, I might just leave my dog at
Did
home and
it?
my husband at home and just
Oh,
say,
one of the ones we did on Workaway, the last one we did in Italy was an agritourism farm, and everything they served in the kitchen at this agritourism, I think they had it was 10, 12 rooms, but everything they served in the kitchen was made on the property.
wow. Well, see, that's where
And
you could come in handy because I would not want to cook for people. If it's a B&B, it's like I'm going to have some
yeah,
bakery provide me with like pastries every morning and maybe some, I don't know, whatever. But if
yeah.
you're there, just
Well,
saying.
and that's what we talked about. So the idea behind the B&B, if I did it, was going to also include the local businesses in the community. So I would cook some of it, but we were going to have like the local bakery supply the breads and the pastries and like the local honey and all
Mm,
the local vineyards. We were going to do it all local and support small businesses, because I just, that to me is my calling to support small businesses and get them connected and working together. Because like here in Caldas, where we live in Portugal, there's a big hotel line called Santa Hotels, and they have one here. And the biggest disappointment of that hotel is they serve ordinary, you can go buy it in the grocery store wines. And
Hmm.
yet there are so many amazing local vineyards. And this hotel is a high end, high price. And it would be an experience to go in there and get the local
Yeah,
wines. And
great
they're missing
collaboration.
such an opportunity.
Yeah, for both.
Yeah, I mean it really is, and I mean because I we could, they host expat events there sometimes, and so we go and we always just go in because of course we've been living here long enough, and they're serving like a €3 bottle of wine for $45, and we get offended.
How dare you?
It's one thing was something special, but a €3 bottle on the grocery store shelf for $45, no,
No, no, no, no. I could get better than that at my local Kroger grocery store. So yeah,
right?
no. When I did this post, I remember you just were triggering my memory because Doris Walsh, who is a former and future guest on the show, she was telling me that one of her weird things that she would do would be a pop up diner where she would
Ooh,
just pop up somewhere and whatever she decided that she wanted to cook that day. So I thought, that
yeah.
sounds fun too. I'm not a, I mean, I'm not a cooker, but or a cook, but chef, have your own cookbook out there. I mean, you could do all that great stuff, but
I
I'm
know
great at
you
making
do.
beds. I can, do decor. I can provide some entertainment. I can clean,
Hey, we all
sit
got
out
our
on the
own
front porch
talents.
with
That's
a
why it
mimosa.
works, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right,
So
folks. I'm going to get into the comments here. We're going to wrap up in just a few minutes. So if you have any final thoughts or questions, please throw them in there. Um, Stella says she did lives on Facebook once a week for about 2 years and has the material downloaded. Some of it will end up on YouTube. Yeah, this show, it goes on YouTube. Heidi,
yeah,
I know you have your stuff out on YouTube
I
too.
do.
That's why I
YouTube,
love YouTube.
Spotify. Yeah.
Yeah. And then Stella says she's a guest already. Just tell me when you open. Okay, cool. I think
All
we've already
right. Yay! We got our first guest starting. Our first booking.
absolutely. All right, Heidi. So before we wrap up, what would you like our listeners to know? What do you have coming up? What's the best way to get in touch with you? I'm going to throw some links up on the screen. Of course, as always, I will put them in the comments. But what do you got a lot going on in your life? So what do you got going on?
I know it's weird. Everybody keeps saying you got so much going on, and I feel like I don't have as much. It might be because I'm not feeling
God, you
well.
always have stuff going on. Are you
I
kidding
know.
me?
Well, next week, next Wednesday, every last Wednesday of the month, unless there's a holiday, we have our networking event, the Connect Collab. So that's
Which
coming
is
up.
awesome.
Excited. I know it's the first
It
one
is
of
so
the
awesome. Can I
year.
put in a pitch for your Connect and Collab? Because it's once a month, last Wednesday of the month, I believe. And then and it's so good. If you've ever been to like one of those networking calls where you're just like, nobody's explaining what we're doing. It's not clear. It's the quality of the guests. Nope, this is the opposite of that. So, and it's
Yeah.
free and it's just really relaxed. And then Heidi does this midway through the call, there's always a topic so people can chime in and talk about whatever it
Yes.
is. So fun. So fun.
I tell you, the round table in the middle of it is probably one of my most fun things, and we are going to be bring that out in an expanded version. So that's going to be coming out.
What?
That's going to be a live. So I've got to get the date on the first one of those. But yeah, so
Fun.
that's coming out. I know I'm excited about it. I do got to get the podcast back up and going. That's not done yet, but that's coming back. And then I'm launching a new group program um, that's going to help people build their playbook so they know who they're talking to, how to get the conversations that convert, and then how to follow up without being all that icky, salesy, and all that kind of stuff. And that's been fun putting that together. And then,
In your mastermind, the collective, which I'm a member of, we have been doing a lot of that relationship
yes,
connection conversation, and it's very helpful. It's really interesting some of the things that you don't think of, and then it's like that makes sense, and then it works. So I love it.
right. And that's just it. I know because there's a lot of people are like, well, why didn't I think of that? It's so simple. And I'm like, that's because that's where my magic lies.
You know
But
what?
it's
We all
connecting
have
those
so much
dots.
noise going on. How many times do we say to ourselves, "Why did I not think of that?" But you know what? Sometimes you have to have the right person say it and present it, and then you go, "Oh, yes, there." I mean,
Well,
that's probably my entire relationship with you, Heidi, is, "Oh, yes." That's what it is.
well, but you know what the thing is, and this is what it is. People are scared to cut out options
Yeah.
because and by committing to something means you made a choice. It means you made a decision, and it cuts things out. And when people feel like they cut things out, they think it's going to be harder because I cut something out. But in reality, it makes it easier because when you have too many decisions, that's what's leaving you in overwhelm and not knowing what to
Mm.
do. Or
And
yeah, so
what
it's
are you doing that's not helpful? 10x is easier, or 10x is easier than
it's
2x, right?
either 2x, yeah. Yeah, but it's so true though. I mean, that's the reason Trader Joe's only has a couple of selections on the shelf of each thing is because they learned that too many things equals decision paralysis.
It's
And
true.
when
It's been researched.
yeah,
I mean, I can attest. If I have, like, I get, that's also why I don't buy salad dressing in the grocery aisle, because there are literally hundreds. And I go in there and I'm okay with a lot of choices, but I'm like, I don't even know. I don't, I got to figure out
I'm
price
not way
and
on the snack aisle. Unless I went in with a certain craving, other than I just want something salty today, and
yeah,
then I get on the aisle, I'm like, oh, well, that looks good. Oh,
or
that looks
bread.
good,
Oh
and
my
that
God,
looks good,
bread.
and that looks good, and it's like, and then I end up not picking anything because I couldn't decide what I wanted, and it's a whole thing. But
Yeah.
it's even that way in your business, and especially on social media, because you literally got millions of people in front of you. It's like, who should I talk to? Oh my God! And it's like we take that away, and when we take that away, it makes it easy.
It ain't easy. Well, Heidi, thank you so much for being my return guest on the Thirsty Professional, and for being a friend, a mentor, a support all of these years. I just love you so much. You are all that in a bag of chips, and you are welcome back to the show anytime. I hope you have a lovely, relaxing day and get some rest in and start feeling better.
Oh, thank you, and right back at you, Beth. I just adore you and appreciate you so much. And yeah, thank you.
All right, folks. Next week, my guest on the show is going to be Julie Taylor. Heidi, I think you know
Ooh.
Julie. Yeah. Oh, there it is. Is that the siren? Is that your siren?
Barely. It wasn't. It was a beep. You didn't get the full siren. I don't know if we can end the show until we've had one. To be honest.
Time. I almost was going to say, you know what? I think I should like avoid walking under ladders until I hear that siren, because it's like bad luck. But there it is. Anyway, next week, Julie Taylor. Julie is the queen bee behind Buzz Business Networking, which is a community of solo business owners who ditch isolation, cut the fluff, and actually get shit done. And she's also sweary too, so I love that. Anyway, I can't wait for that conversation. Thank you all for joining today. If you're watching on LinkedIn, please connect if you're not already, both with myself and my lovely guest, Heidi Medina. If you're on YouTube, please like and subscribe. So appreciated. Thank you so much. Any additional questions or feedback, leave them in the comments or DM one of us. Consider if you might like a little paranormal mystery. The Case of the Demon Drums. I appreciate it. And if you have bought it and read it, I would love a review. I'm not going to tell you, give me a good review. Just give me a review. It always helps. And congratulate yourself for getting real about your career, your purpose, and your passion. So now Miss Heidi Arbuckle coming back here. I brought out the big dog for Heidi. And Heidi and myself, we're going to bid you a fond farewell. Take it easy.
Thank
Fill your cup, let's have a chat about careers, life, and all of that.